everyone, welcome back to another video. My name's Katie if you're new here. This is Poppy by the way, and on this channel, Girl vs Wild, I share my adventures, mostly solo in New Zealand's great outdoors. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then please consider subscribing. In this video I'm going to be answering some questions which you guys sent in. So what was the first one, Matt?
So Delayed Jet asks, what's the hardest tramp you've ever done, and what pill or pills of wisdom did you take from it?
I would say probably one of the hardest I've ever done was my first encounter with needing to use my personal locator beacon. I actually did a podcast episode with Abigail Hannah, who runs her podcast series Aotearoa Adventures, all about the importance of a personal locator beacon. I'll link that below in case you want to go and check that out as well. In this situation, I'll be walking up the Deception River towards Goat Pass. It was a little bluff, so I lowered my bag down this bluff and it bounced off into the river. Basically, I waded out to get my bag and everything was wet, and I thought I might have the early stages of hypothermia, so I ended up getting rescued with my PLB. And from that I learned just to be extra careful when you're going on tramps that you haven't been on before, because you never know when you're going to run into trouble, and also that it's very, very important to take a locator beacon just in case you do, and also to not be afraid to use it, because as long as you've got a good reason to use it, Search and Rescue is more than happy to help you out.
And from the Wandering Wolves, they said, we'll ask you what you asked us on our video because we think it's an interesting question. Have you ever been in a sticky situation on a hike or tramp, and what did you do to get out of it?
I'll just quickly grab Oscar. Yes, I have been. From that story I just shared, you'll probably guess that yes, I have been in a sticky situation. I've been in more than one sticky situation. A lot of them involve water. Another time that I used a PLB, I was between two side streams just outside Siberia Hut, and I couldn't really cross either of them. And then yet another time again, I was on the Greenstone Caples walk, and again a situation involving side streams arose where it had been raining quite heavily and the side streams were quite... I see these two questions are quite similar, aren't they? So what I did to overcome that was I just turned back, but unfortunately I was swept off my feet and carried downstream a little bit, but I did manage to get out of the stream. Yeah, what I would learn from that, always keep your personal locator beacon, but also if it is raining heavily and there is any water along the track, even if it's just little side streams, consider turning back at the first side stream instead of continuing on through them, because they might continue to rise throughout the day.
Okay, now we have some anonymous questions from Instagram. First one is, how do you manage feelings from isolation and absolute self-reliance on solo tramps?
I try to make sure that I'm walking most of the day. I'll also take entertainment, so I'll take a book and make sure that I set up a lovely cozy bed at the end of the day, that I'm eating healthy food. Chocolate is a big tip. Chocolate really helps my mental health, so I definitely recommend everybody gives it a go if they haven't already discovered the wonders of chocolate.
And the second question is, what makes for a more memorable tramp, solo or with company?
Solo or with company, there's definitely perks to both. So solo, you get lots of time to reflect and think. Of course, you could get a little bit lonely, but there's a difference between loneliness and solitude. So as long as you are enjoying your solo time, that's really great, and it can be lovely to have just the time to connect with nature by yourself. And then the perks of walking with a group are that you get to share memories. You've also got more people to share decision making, so if you're trying to decide what to do when crossing a difficult river, or whether to continue on when the weather's bad and things like that, you can have a second opinion, so it gives you more confidence and you've always got backup.
Okay, and third question is, any plans for climbing Mount Cook?
Mount Cook. I don't actually have plans for climbing Mount Cook, but I really want to go there soon, and because I see it all over Instagram, so it's definitely very much in the forefront of my mind. So I would like to go there and do the Hooker Valley trek probably.
Okay, fourth question, bivy bag or tent or hut, which do you use most?
I use huts the most, but I always take a tent just in case the hut's full, And sometimes even if there is room in the hut, maybe the people in the hut are a little bit noisy, or for any number of reasons you might just want the space of your tent, so it's nice to have as an option. It can also be a little bit cheaper if you're doing some of the Great Walks. I know that they have tenting sites on the Great Walks which are a bit cheaper than using the hut. As far as bivvy bags, I haven't really used a bivvy bag before, but I have heard about them and I would like to give it a go one day.
A favourite walk and or hike you like?
Well, that is such an open question. My favourite walk or hike, it really depends on what kind of mood I'm in, but I would really say that my favourite is variety, so a walk that includes maybe valleys, mountain, forest, tussock land. Ridge walking, an example of that might be the Edwards Horden, because you start walking up a river before you get to the bush section of the Edwards track, then you're walking upwards through bush, then you arrive at the hut, then you get to walk past these beautiful little alpine tarns, sort of tussock country, then you're walking over rocks, then you're climbing up to Tarn Col, which is really exciting, and then you get to walk over to Walker Pass, and most of that is on rocky terrain. And then you go down through forest to Horden Hut, and then from there you're just walking out the river valley of the Horden. So that's an example of a walk that has quite a variety of terrain, variety of altitudes, and it just keeps things quite interesting and fun.
Okay, question 6. What tools do you use to navigate? GPS or any other app?
What tools do I use to navigate on a hike? That's a good question. I usually just study maps and notes beforehand, and if I feel like the track's a little bit more complicated, I print them out, and so I've got a paper copy. But then earlier this year I did try using Topo Maps for the first time. That's the one that everyone's been telling me is really, really helpful. I had resisted using it for so long because I just like to avoid technology as much as possible when I'm out in the bush, and I usually just take my phone for making vlogs, taking photos, and take a PLB for safety. But Topo Maps was really helpful, so I probably would take that again in the future if I was doing a more advanced, complicated hike.
Okay, last question. How are you about wild swims? Never seen any on your hikes.
How am I with wild swims? I actually love swimming in the wild. I do like to challenge myself to swim in rivers, especially, and lakes, really good. So there probably will be some on my channel if you look hard enough. So that's the end of the questions, everyone. I hope you found it informative and interesting to find out a little bit of the backstory behind my hiking career. Don't forget to stay tuned for the next video, and I'll see you soon.